Welcome to the Pinch to Zoom podcast. I'm Stetson.
And I'm Gabe.
In this episode, we're talking about summer tech and how to balance screen time with getting outdoors.
Yeah, it's the summer. School's not out for everyone. School's out for college students, so
Woo!
crack open a cold one. That note to everyone, that is not actually a beer. It is simply a sparkling coconut. So
Yeah, Gabe, tell us about this new beverage you're into. Oh, wow. That looks good.
That's going to be some good ASMR right there, I can tell you.
Oh, yeah. Really hitting the audience.
No, but yeah, they're just trying to set them in the mood for, it's summer.
It's summer. The sun's out. It's warm finally. I know I was getting cold in Ithaca. Feels great to be home. Gabe, you're home too now.
I am home. Home is where the heart is, actually, Stetson, so.
Well, my heart is home.
Yeah, I'm like Davy Jones in Pirates, and my heart's in this little jar of dirt or whatever. That. So right. I can never be home.
The summertime doesn't mean that technology stops. It's still in full swing, and we have some good quick news to dive into.
Okay, we can go right into that. And this is very aggressive. I can see you're coming for the golden shopping cart already.
I'm gunning for it.
Because quick news is clearly my thing to introduce, but you're just like,
because we missed the whole intro.
This segment.
Quick news.
Oh my gosh, it's actually kind of desperate, Stetson. So I think you're hurting yourself,
Gabe. But I don't need you putting me down this whole episode just to defend your shopping cart.
We're not going to decide it this fast that I already won, but let's just say that I'm already out in front by a couple horse lengths.
Well, I mean, you basically won before the episode even started, whipping out the Tascam.
I know, the Tascam recorder's far superior than the Zoom one that you have. Not really, but it is. I have been pro Tascam for a while.
It's true.
But they both are really good options for if you're looking to record some good audio on the go. But anyways, now this totally original idea that no one else brought up earlier in the episode. Let's get to quick news. Quick news. All right. First thing in quick news is that Fujifilm finally debated their long-awaited medium format camera.
Yes.
Now, for those who don't know what medium format is, basically this is a size above of your regular 35 millimeter full frame sensor. So imagine that, and now imagine even a bigger sensor.
It's bigger?
Yeah. So this is around $10,000. So not cheap, but it's 102 megapixels.
How many megapixels?
102, yeah.
What?
And it's 16-bit color.
That's
so I mean, if you price it out per megapixel, like that's what 100 megapixels. Let's say $10,000. That's like $10 a megapixel.
Something like that. Might be more.
$100 a megapixel. So that's not that bad when you think about it, I guess.
That seems pretty bad to me. That's
that's
pretty expensive still.
No, because I paid $3,000 for my 12 megapixel A7S II.
Yeah, that's a lot. I paid like $2,000 for my 20 megapixel.
So that's right there. Also $100.
Oh, okay.
$100 a megapixel. Have we just cracked the code on
camera
pro
pricing?
Cameras?
Wow.
Yeah. Not really. Anyways, the other really cool thing about this is it does shoot 10-bit 420 4K within the camera. But most people who are going to be getting this camera aren't going to be getting it for videography. They're going to be getting it for photography, but still it uses the full width of the sensor when it's shooting 4K. So you're actually getting this huge sensor that's using the full width of it and is, shooting good 4K video.
Does this make everything just super wide?
Yeah, you get everything is super wide. You get tons of bokeh, and obviously it's very good at low light because it's each pixel, even though it's a 100 megapixel sensor, you're getting each pixel spread out a lot more.
Right.
So yeah, that's not really useful to anyone probably listening to this podcast. I doubt most people are gonna have any use or have enough money to just to buy this, but
yeah, you should just jump ship, sell everything you have right now, sell your car, sell your kids' cars, stop paying for college.
Yeah, people you're like, I may be homeless, but at least I have this 102 megapixel medium format
but
camera.
At least I can take amazingly sharp pictures with great color
of my nothing that I have in my life. But anyways, yeah, so that's pretty awesome. Another thing in camera news is that the SJ Cam, which is known for making quick, very cheap action cams, they released this camera. It's not really notable. It's called the SJ9 Max Action Cam. Compares
Great naming.
pretty decently to the DJI Osmo Action and the GoPro Hero 7, but I would not recommend it for most people unless you really are, because I think it's only $200 or something like that. So it's definitely cheaper. But the thing is that, and I predicted this, go back, maybe, I don't know, I'm not going to bother editing in, but if you listen to this podcast routinely, and Stetson, hopefully you don't listen to this routinely, but you at least remember when I predicted that wireless charging would be coming to action cameras.
And here it is.
Wireless charging, yeah. I think it's a genius thing, because what's the problem with action cameras? Well, I shouldn't ask you that, because you're going to say everything, right?
Yeah. Well, they're kind of small. The wide angle is too big. We get a fisheye.
That's enough there, Mr. Anti-action camera. No, the big thing is that, they have to be waterproof, most importantly.
So that's what this wireless charging is doing then.
Exactly.
It's making the camera sealed and fully waterproof.
Yeah, why do you need ports to charge it? You don't. Just make it wireless and then seal up every port and you're good.
So my question, how do you get data off of this action cam?
I mean, my guess is that it probably has a micro SD slot in where the battery is.
Okay.
'Cause that's what both the Osmo Action and the GoPro have.
That could work.
So they still have a port and a door, but like it's one less thing.
So they can like really focus everything on that as opposed to that.
And it's that's
great.
Yeah. I just think it's easier because you can go right from using it to set it down on and then keep going. Yeah.
I mean, how does that impact charging time? Like, how long does it take to charge this battery?
It will probably be slower, my guess, right? They haven't gotten wireless charging quite to the point where it can match even non-slow charging.
Yeah, I guess what I would probably do is then move the charging outside of the camera body itself. So have it where you can get a charging dock, like with drones. You have a charging dock for all your batteries, and then just pop battery in the action cam, and then you'll be able to use it. It's waterproof, and then you can charge it much quicker with that charging base station.
I guess I can see that, but it's just one extra step. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Wireless charging is obviously the way of the future. We're gonna radiate even more stuff around.
Yeah, how many radio waves can we get floating through one room at a time?
Every frequency is gonna be taken up. We're just gonna be like walking through like concrete of radio waves, like eating our body apart. Yeah. Anyways, enough of that. Let's get on to the next thing in quick news.
I'm gonna take this one. It is Apple. Love Apple. They recently
they say that iPhone a day keeps the doctor away, right?
I think it's actually an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Oh, wow. Well, I am
Gabe, what have you been eating?
I am in a lot of debt. And also, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That explains all the acid reflux I've been having.
That's awful. You can definitely get that taken care of. And Apple, in the meantime, has pushed out their new MacBook Pros. This is a refresh to their Pro computers, and it includes the new 8th and 9th generation Intel Core processors. This is the first time we're getting an 8-core processor on the MacBook Pro for 2 times the performance over the previous generation quad-core processors.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's all I can say.
That's basically the update. New processors.
The thing is, they did have a 6-core processor in the last generation, I know.
And yeah, now these are
8-core.
8-core. So that's
the thing I wonder is how much overheating are we going to see? Because I know that was a big issue already with the 6-core last generation. That was only 6 months ago.
That has been a regular problem for Apple too, right? Like basically the computers will overheat and then it uses thermal throttling. And that actually reduces the performance of this brand new computer you just spent all your money on.
Yeah, I think with the last one, they found that it reduced the performance so much that it was performing less than the quad-core processor version.
I'd definitely be interested to see that. And are they still having the keyboard issues?
I think they've somewhat fixed it. I think they put some membrane or something underneath it. And the issue they're having now more is the connector between the keyboard part of the and like the body part of the laptop and the screen, they made like too thin and flimsy, and so it was breaking on a lot of computers. That's one reason. When I heard that, I was like, yep, I'm getting Apple Care for sure. I mean, it's pretty much a no-brainer anyways with any Apple product.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I was like, definitely get it with this, a computer that's over $2,500. Makes sense to pay $300 in Apple Care.
It really saves a lot.
Because right at 2.5 years, I just accidentally, somehow it just everything failed all at once.
Right, you'll be so glad you have that Apple Care.
Yeah.
As someone who's worked in the computer repair shop on campus, I can say Apple Care is it's always great when we're servicing clients who have Apple Care. The cost of the repair is so much lower, and it's definitely worthwhile. Investment.
Was it a relief whenever someone said they had Apple Care because you knew you wouldn't have to like tell them, well, yeah, now you owe us $2,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Basically, you're buying a brand new computer, but you're replacing the components of your old 2014 MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Ouch.
Oh.
Indeed. Yeah. So that's really cool. They also have that WWDC is scheduled for June 3rd. Yeah,
I'm excited
really awesome.
for that. This is Apple's worldwide developer conference where they basically bring together all of the app developers and programmers building applications and features for Apple's iOS, macOS, and watchOS systems. And
yeah, it's kind of like Google I/O, which we just talked about.
Yeah, and it brings everyone together. They announce typically the preview of what's coming for iOS, macOS, and watchOS, the new features, what the new operating system is going to look like, the new name. Always love seeing that.
Yeah, are they going to stick, right now they're with California National Parks, right?
I think they're going to continue that bandwagon. Apple's quote-unquote crack marketing team is going to continue pursuing those ideas.
Do we have any predictions?
I do not know the
Death Valley?
California area at all.
Joshua Tree? Sequoia? Do they have a Sequoia yet?
I don't think they have Sequoia. That
could work. Sequoia or...
It always sounds weird.
Sequoia.
Because it was Mavericks, Yosemite, El Capitan, and now Mojave.
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, what else would they do? Planets, maybe?
Honestly don't know.
Types of plants?
Switch. They did cats. So they went from cats to parks.
Maverick was kind of just a one-off type thing.
I think so.
It was a Maverick, actually. That's what it was.
That was a good operating system.
Conform.
I like Android's naming system too.
Yeah, the
desserts. Yeah, going through the alphabet.
For desserts, yeah. What are they going to do when they get to Z, though?
Well, they've still got a few years to figure that out, so we'll just wait and see.
They're on Q now, or P? O, P? Yeah, Q.
So that's a tough one. That's a tough one for dessert.
It's a quagmire. So we'll see what Apple does at WWDC. We'll probably have a special podcast for that, or maybe we'll just dedicate it our weekly one.
I'll be home
bi-weekly.
June 3rd. Yeah, that's coming up really soon.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see any new hardware at this event?
We usually don't, and so I doubt we'll see anything there.
I'm actually predicting we're going to see news or updates surrounding the new Mac Pro.
We might see that. I was just thinking that kind of too, because they did announce last year that was going to be coming out in February, and then they pushed it back. So we haven't heard about that yet, and they could either release it then, or I could see them announcing it or putting something out, maybe end of June.
And I mean, remember when the 2013 Mac Pro was announced, it was first previewed at WWDC in its glorious trash can form at all. And that was previewed and then released in the fall. So I'm thinking and honestly quite hoping they're going to do something similar this time. And I think that would be really exciting. I know there's a pro audience really looking for a new pro desktop from Apple. So
you included, or
this is me included. I really, really want to see them announce or preview something and see what's up, because Microsoft is putting out really great desktop hardware. A lot of companies, you can obviously build a PC with really great specs and performance at a reasonable price. And I want that desktop power in a Mac operating system. And
what are we thinking for form factor? What's the prediction here? Because for people who don't know, the current MacBook, or not MacBook Pro,
it's Mac
Pro looks
Excuse you.
basically like a trash can, and it's round, cylindrical, and all black. I think it looks pretty cool. It's definitely been memed to death.
The problem with it was it had a lot of thermal issues because it was so small, and the way the cooling system was designed is it had one fan and a central cooling unit, and that really
sucked all the air through.
Didn't dissipate the heat well enough. It would overheat, and then there were certain components that would fail. I think specifically the graphics card and the way they were manufactured, everything was soldered on to the main logic board basically. So if you had any kind of problems,
that's how you got to do it, Stetson.
They just had to replace huge components on that computer. So I think for form factor, I've seen some leaks and some rumors. I want to say we're looking at a stack of Mac Minis. That's what I'm thinking.
That could be interesting. Do you think thinner than a Mac Mini? I mean, like not as wide as a Mac Mini, so taller but narrower?
If they do something that's similar enough to the Mac Mini form factor, I could see them reusing manufacturing processes that they're already using for the Mac Mini. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same sort of width and length dimensions, and then possibly have different units that are different heights.
That could be interesting for sure, but we'll have to wait and see. And stay tuned to the podcast, or probably there's other ways to get the news faster, but we won't ever tell you about them.
That's right. So this podcast
is the fastest way. But anyways, moving on, because this is quick news. The next thing that we have, we're going to talk about is that Huawei, if you don't know about them, well, you're going to know about them. And
because we're going to tell you about them.
Or maybe you won't know about them because they might disappear. Or
that's a good point.
Be less relevant. But anyways, starting off, we're going to start a long ways away from technology in this story, is the U.S. ongoing trade war with China.
Well, Gabe, what could that possibly have to do with Huawei and technology and news?
Wow, Stetson, what a aptly asked question. That just helps me lead into where I was going to go. It's like it was unplanned, but yet somehow planned in a way. Anyways, there's this ongoing trade war with China. No matter where you sit on that politically, what that is doing is basically, the United States has had this long belief that China's stealing a lot of our technology secrets and patents and stuff like that, and then making cheap knockoffs. And it's pretty true, and China's basically admitted it. The United States has been raising tariffs on China. China's been doing the same in return. And after this most recent round of tit-for-tat tariffs, that's a good tongue twister, tit-for-tat tariffs. Anyways, Donald Trump announced that they're going to be blacklisting, the United States will be blacklisting the company Huawei, which is a Chinese company that has long had ties to the government in China, and many people think has been sending or giving at least the Chinese government a backdoor to everyone's information that uses their phones or any chip that they make and stuff like that.
That's definitely kind of a scary prospect or anything to think about too, like having a foreign country have a backdoor to millions of consumer products. That would definitely
and not just
uneasy.
Consumer too, because they're a big company in this new push for 5G. So with that, if they make the 5G, antennas and stuff like that,
like
they can basically be grabbing
part of that.
Yeah, they could be grabbing all the information that passes through.
Wow. Basically, Google, the U.S. government kind of put that blacklist on Huawei, and this means any U.S. company cannot do business with Huawei. One of these companies...
Well, that doesn't matter, right?
Well, one of these companies... Gabe, thank you for setting me up. One of these companies is Google. Google makes Android, the operating system run on millions of phones worldwide that Huawei is using in their phones. So this means that Google, the US company, can no longer do business with Huawei. And this means Android can essentially no longer be supported on Huawei's devices.
Well, there's a they can still use Android because Android's a free
It's an open platform, open source project. But services that Google provides, like the Google Play Store, all of the apps, Google Docs, Drive, Sheets, YouTube, like all of those services that Google is responsible for that are pretty important to the Android experience will no longer be offered on Huawei devices. And I believe there's a 90-day window where Google's going to work with Huawei on this. But after that,
I think it was I don't know if it was the Economic Bureau or the FCC. Some U.S. department granted Google a 90-day ability to break this new blacklist.
But yeah, after that 90 days, Huawei could stop getting...
And this is big news because Huawei actually was now number 2 on the companies for making smartphones. Samsung is the most popular smartphone maker, then Huawei, and then I think Apple is still number 3.
So this is huge. Yeah, this is huge.
But however, while many people have been saying this is going to be the death of Huawei, I think actually that this could be a beneficial thing.
This could be the rebirth of Huawei. This is a phoenix moment where they are bursting into flames and then emerging from the ashes. Gabe, tell us more about what is going to emerge from Huawei's ashes.
My take is that I think that this could actually end up hurting United States businesses like Google, because right now Google, gets to use all their services on Huawei phones.
Again, the number 2 phone manufacturer in the world right now.
But what this is going to force Huawei to do is kind of rush out the door their operating system that they've been developing in-house that will replace Android. And that's big when you're the number 2 phone manufacturer in the world. And Samsung's been hesitant to do it, and Huawei's been hesitant to do it up till now because it's kind of a scary thing to do. But what's going to happen is they're going to be forced to do it, and I think, it's going to hurt them for a while, but it's going to put another operating system on the market, which is a big thing because after Windows Phone disappeared, it's really only been iOS and Android.
Yeah, I think on one hand, this is actually kind of exciting. I'd love to see another company's take on what a mobile operating system could be, what the features are, what can be developed for it. The strength Google has is they have built the Google Play Store. And this is already a platform that many, many developers are using to build code and develop their applications and distribute them. Having another platform could make it more challenging for developers. And I think consumers could miss a lot of the core apps, features, and services they're used to on other Android devices. So it could definitely go in many different directions.
One thing I think that is going to be, because I know the Windows Phone had this problem, right? Where they had...
Yeah,
they had like 7 apps.
They had all the social media apps because those are the ones that people care about, and then nothing else.
So this is could be a problem, and most likely will be a problem. But I think they're going to benefit from the fact that China has they have many apps that are exclusive just to China. They don't allow some US apps in there because they want to be able to filter on them and stuff like that. So they have apps like Weibo and different apps basically that replace Twitter or replace Google or replace Facebook that allow for the China government to censor them. But those apps are going to be more likely to be easily ported and brought to the Huawei store. Also because China, even though they say they aren't, they're very communistic. So much of the means of production are controlled by the government. So the government will be very quick to incentivize, hey, our biggest telecom company is undergoing this thing that's going to, possibly put them out of business, maybe, or at least hurt their business.
Or launch them forward. This could really help.
Well, exactly.
Them.
That's what they're going to say. They're facing, they're at this point where it's very scary. Could be good, could be bad. So let's incentivize all these developers to start working on apps for their Play Store or for their whatever Huawei store they're going to call.
Right. Do you see existing Huawei phones? They're not going to get any security updates or Android updates after these 90 days. Do you see Huawei pushing an update that will allow existing users to update to their new operating system?
That would probably be a smart move. I guess, I don't know. Yeah, that's probably the best thing to do. I know that the phones, I was reading some article where they were saying, they were interviewing someone who ran a site that wasn't Swappa, but it was another site where you could sell phones online. I know there are other sites that exist, Stetson, don't freak out.
Have you heard of Swappa?
Yeah, right.
It's a really good site.
The sales of used Huawei phones went up 25%. Or not the sales, the listings of them went up 25%.
Yeah, people are ready to jump ship, it sounds like.
So people were like, screw this. I don't want any part of this disaster that's going to take place possibly. So, yeah. I mean, I think that would probably be the best way to take care of people, but however, you're giving people something that they didn't originally sign up for. You know, they signed up for a phone running Android, and now you're like, oh, here's this new thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I could see this really damaging or hurting Huawei's business in the United States, especially kind of with their tainted reputation. However, to your point, I could definitely see this give them a new kind of competitive edge in other countries and other landscapes. Like in China, I think they could actually perform quite well and kind of deliver some new, unique experiences that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, that seems like that could be possible. But anyways, we're spending way too long on our topics today. I don't know what's up with it. It's summer. We're just stretching out. Let's just spend 5 hours talking about this. No, we're moving on because this is quick news.
Should we jump into SpaceX?
Yeah, that's the last piece of news on our topic.
Okay.
And let's run through this as quickly as it can be.
Basically, the other day, SpaceX launched 30 satellites into orbit around the Earth. These are low orbit satellites that are part of Elon Musk's plan to essentially blanket the Earth in high-speed internet. The satellites will link together, provide internet service to the Earth down below, and this is part of Elon's plan to expand into the internet service business. He projects that while SpaceX's rocket launching business could grow to $3 billion a year, the internet revenue could be 10 times that and grow to $30 billion a year. So this is part of their business strategy, and I think could be really beneficial because it could provide internet access in areas where people simply don't have internet right now.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal. I know Facebook is also someone who's looking at this. So they're a lot farther behind, and most likely Google as well. They're looking at everything, I feel like. So yeah, this is huge. I know they said I think they launched, was it 400 today or 300? I'm not quite sure, not today, but the other day. And they need around 800 for the system to really be viable. Eventually, they're going to have upwards of like 2,000 satellites flying around in low orbit, which low orbit, I'm pretty sure they said was around, It's 200, between 210 and 710 miles above the Earth's surface. Yeah,
and that is considered low orbit.
Yeah. So this is, I think, Felix Baumgartner, that was about where he jumped from, though. Wasn't it around 200 miles up?
I am unsure.
I'm pretty sure that's where it was. I can't really remember.
Maybe
it was 200. I think it was 200,000 feet, actually. Yeah.
I think I said 30, and I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's definitely, 30. It was way more than 30 satellites. It was like a huge number of satellites.
I think it was like 300 maybe. I don't know. Anyways, it's not operating the system currently because they don't have enough satellites in, but they're going to continue launches, and hopefully it'll be fully working by 2021, I think.
I think their goal is 12,000 total satellites, but they only need significantly fewer to be viable, only like 1,000 or something.
Yeah, and so they're trying to wait until and get this ready by CES in 2021.
And I think this could really, this basically eliminates the need for cell service. It could replace home internet. I think this has huge potential, and it's going to cause a huge shift in the communications landscape.
Yeah, we'll have to see. This is definitely future tech, so
we'll save it for another episode.
Yeah. We'll put a pin in it and get back to it as it becomes more relevant.
Gabe, why did we bring pins onto the show? That was a bad idea.
Oh, yeah. Ouch. I just sat on one, too.
Okay,
but now that was the end of our quick news segment, so now we're going to get into the meat of our... no more meat.
Yeah, Gabe, you're still vegetarian, right?
So, sorry. The fake meat, the Beyond Burger meat of the topic.
We're going beyond the quick news.
Speaking of Beyond Burgers and meat, let's get the grill out and start barbecuing because it's summer.
we're going outside, right?
Yeah.
Actually,
we're going outside, getting away from the screen.
I like to spend 8 hours a day staring at a screen, Gabe. I don't know about you. And then when I'm done staring at my computer screen, I like to relax in bed with my iPad screen and then my iPhone.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely am around there. 8 hours probably on my phone. And then when I'm not on my phone, I'm working on my computer.
It's ridiculous. Gabe,
and then wait, let me relax and sit on my couch and watch some TV. Oh, good.
Now we're taking a break. Totally new environment.
I think definitely some days it's like up to 16 hours in front of a screen for me.
Honestly,
like, literally, I feel like my whole day is just looking. I mean, the odd thing is right now we're recording this episode looking at each other on a screen because we're FaceTiming and recording in 2 different locations.
Yep. And I mean, we've already been doing this for at least an hour and a half.
Yeah. And this was by choice. We were in the same area. We drove to separate locations just so we could get more screen time because we're like, we don't want human connection.
Yeah. No more human interaction. A little bit too much. I saw someone today while I was waiting in line. Couldn't do it.
That was painful.
Yep.
Ouch.
I just went home, decided to order the product online instead.
Yeah.
Gonna hope the interaction with the UPS guy goes a little bit smoother than the in-store experience.
Yeah. Well, have you always gotten this much screen time? Or like, what's your history with screen time?
That's a really good question. And my story is growing up, my parents had a screen time limit. I think I got 1 to 2 hours a day. And when I was young, like I want to say 8 years old, right, that would really be playing on the GameCube or playing on the Nintendo Wii, or maybe there was a computer game like Oregon Trail on the Mac, right? And I'd get either an hour or 2 hours of screen time per day, and I could choose when to use that, and I'd play my game, and that would be it. I wouldn't be on any other phone or device because I simply didn't have any device.
Yeah. No, and there wasn't really the idea of personal devices back then.
Right. It was just like a shared family computer. I had my console because I was young and into gaming and had free time, and that was really it. What's your history with screen time? Did you ever have a limit?
Yours is pretty normal, I feel like. I mean, maybe people had more screen time than you, maybe. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe they're about the same. I was definitely on the far extreme of less because I went to this school called the Waldorf School, which is kind of teaching-wise, it's like a Montessori school. It's very, like, all about, engaging the kids on different levels and, arts and stuff like that. But one thing that they're very different is in the elementary schools and especially the, kindergarten, especially in 1st through like 5th, 6th, 7th grade at least, they are very against screen time and really advocate that parents, limit their they'd rather have no screen time, honestly. Now they've had to adjust that slightly as the culture has changed a little bit, but they're still very much against screen time and say, they don't want it being talked about in school and stuff like that. And it was weird growing up because like my parents, our family, we wanted to drive in movie theater, so I would see movies a lot. And I wasn't allowed to talk about them at all in school. And I've never really had any experience like you had of having a game console. I owned my first Xbox when I was like 21.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And I didn't grow up playing Mario Kart or.
So what were the screens? Like, you're basically in the school. You're not allowed to look at any screens. Like, did you look at a screen or? I
mean, we had a TV in my house. When I'd have like friends over sometimes, or like more, it was more when we'd have friends and their parents over. My parents would cover it with a cloth, like it was like taboo or something. But I would we'd watch like one movie sometimes on a weekend, or maybe when I was in like 5th, maybe 6th grade, 7th grade, I started being able to like maybe on the weekends use my mom's computer for an hour after I'd done my homework. But really, it was very limited. And the thing that's odd is that a lot of people in Silicon Valley, a lot of executives, actually send their kids to these Waldorf schools because they don't want their kids having a lot of screen time.
That is wild. How do you feel this experience changed your relationship with technology? Like, did looking at a screen suddenly become more special to you? Did you look forward to it? And what were some of the things like? Did you remember those movies and movie experiences more than some of the ones you've gone to now?
I don't. I mean, it's hard to really judge because you don't know like how would I've developed. How would my relationship be different if I'd grown up using screens a lot more?
Yeah, sure.
But I think one thing, the World Health Organization definitely is in support that, like, especially under 5, they say that screen time should be limited to 1 hour a day, if that at most. And I mean, it's crazy that we're talking about 5-year-olds even. I mean, how many times are you going like through an airport or someplace and you see a kid on an iPad?
Oh, it's like stroller. I think it's the new, like, parents don't want to manage their kids. So just like they throw a screen in front of it and the kid is just mesmerized. Like this colorful, bright, touch screen interactive experience is awesome. And then the parents don't need to think about it. The kids are quiet because they're like their mouths are literally kind of like open as they're just flicking around on the device. It's wild.
It's kind of scary seeing that, and then seeing also how they've not trained monkeys, but given monkeys and some of the higher apes iPads or tablets, and that they've not only learned to use them, but they've been very addicted almost to them and very engaged and drawn in.
Yeah, it's like I feel like the moment I pick up a phone or I turn a screen on, my mind just goes to a completely different place. Like I am focused on what the screen is putting out, and I'm like, I have tunnel vision.
It's like you go into like, oh, let me just quickly do this, and then boom, 5 hours later, you're like, whoa, what just happened?
Right. It's crazy. So when did screens slowly start being introduced to you, and what was the first screen that you personally, that was your personal device?
My first personal device, which I think is really, for me, it was a little later. Like most of my friends had, phones by then. I think I got a phone maybe I didn't get a phone. I can't quite remember, but it was about in high school. I got an iPod Touch, I think my freshman year of high school. And that was pretty awesome, I gotta say.
Yeah, those things were sick. What were you, fourth gen? Were you?
I started with third gen, and then I eventually lost that and upgraded to fourth gen. So.
All right.
Yeah, they really, honestly, I still like those are some quality Apple devices.
Yeah. Oh, it's so weird. I think for me, growing up, I got the game consoles. We had a Mac Mini that became eventually painfully slow, and we upgraded to an iMac. And I think I remember I got my first phone. I was very jealous of my friends who had the iPod Nanos. I ended up getting a Shuffle that didn't have a screen on it. So my real first like personal device was my cell phone that I got on my 13th birthday in junior high school. And this was
so that's like 7th grade or so.
Yeah, 7th grade. It was the Samsung SGH T369.
Dang.
One of those slide out phones with
cleverly named phone.
Full QWERTY keyboard. I know the name just really just puts that picture in your mind. And yeah, did I do much on it? I definitely you watch that episode of The Office where Jim trains Dwight to salivate on when he hears a ding sound because he gives him a mint. Yeah. I think that's what happened with me and my text tone. Like anytime it would go off, my mind would immediately, all right, who texted me? And I'd keep doing homework, I'd keep doing a math problem, and always in the back of my mind, like that thought, like what does that message say? It was almost introducing, when you hear yourself kind of talking to yourself, that tiny little voice in your head, it almost introduced another voice that was just there and present. Like something to think about
and constantly distracting you.
Yeah, constantly distracting me. And so that's when I got my first device. And then I think in high school, I too, or junior high, like I eventually got the iPod Touch 2nd generation, upgraded to the 4th generation. And I played all the games on that as well. And that was really fun. And I mean, did you have a limit on your iPod Touch? Like how much you could use it?
No, not really. And I think that's definitely, I definitely have had to deal with a lot of addiction issues with screen time. I think, I've, have to figure out where the line is that, I'm using the technology versus the technology using me, because I think this is really key. Originally, I think like when there was games and stuff like that, and in the beginning, it was like, it's a very utilitarian thing. Like, this is a tool for us to use. This is a tool for us to entertain ourselves with. But now it's almost turned the other way around, where these companies like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, their product is built so that it will get you to engage longer and to come back more often. Their stock goes up and down based on how many active users they have per month, based on user engagement. Like, those are things that mean, if they have higher user engagement or higher active users, that means they're taking more and more of people's attention, which is taking away more and more of people's lives, basically.
Yeah.
So it's turned around now from where the product is, the Facebook app, and that's on a phone, to now where we're the product that they are selling to their advertisers.
Right. It's all about getting those eyeballs, and they're manufacturing experiences that essentially are as addicting as possible, timing notifications, creating that pleasant ding sound that many of us probably don't hear anymore.
Limitless scroll is one of the biggest ones.
Yeah, you just scroll on forever.
Like, that's that you no longer have to click onto a new page. It's just like your brain just wants more, and it's boom, instantly there.
I've heard we scroll through 350 feet of content every day.
Wow. That's crazy. That's over a football field.
Yeah. Just scrolling.
I would love wouldn't that be so cool to lay out all the content, like to just record your screen for a whole day and then print it out and lay it out?
And how much, like, what percentage of that would be ads?
Yeah, that would be real. Could we do this actually? That would be really interesting. It'd be hard to do, but
it would be fascinating for sure. So that was kind of like how we grew up with technology. What are some things you're doing today to kind of manage your time, manage your relationship, and make sure you are using technology and that it isn't using you?
Yes.
Gabe, I take it you're not doing anything?
I'm trying. I think most people can say, unless you're very, you've got a good grasp on it, that it's kind of a day-to-day thing for me. Some days I feel like, I'm boom. What phone? I don't even know what a phone is, And then other days it's like, I feel like the thing's glued to my hand. And I definitely say with most people, I think phones are probably the biggest screen time thing.
Phones are the worst. I feel like when I use my computer, I'm being productive. I'm doing stuff. I'm doing work. I'm being creative. And when I'm on my phone, I am consuming media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm looking through other people's posts. And it's so immediate and so instant. And that instant gratification is always there of getting those likes and retweets. And
do you think it has to do with the more tactile and like the different interaction format where it's a touchscreen versus your computer is, a little more
I really do. I think the phone is almost more of a personal device, and being able to touch and glide through your content in such an interactive way, I think that's a huge part of why that specific device is so addictive.
Yeah, that does make sense because I notice that I am constantly like getting drawn into my phone. I'll be like, oh, let me just, check what the weather's going to be like. And next thing,
Instagram.
Instagram. And then, I see this cool thing on Instagram. Let me go see what that is. The things I've been doing really, I know there's the basic tips like everyone says, turn on Do Not Disturb, turn off notifications, delete social media apps, this stuff like that. For me, the one problem is, which is kind of like if you're trying to quit smoking and you're also an actor that, your job required you to smoke cigarettes or something like that,
Right.
The problem is
you do a lot of social media.
I do a lot of social media for my job. And so it's kind of hard to say, oh, let me just delete all these apps. And I'm not rich enough, like Casey Neistat, I know, has his business phone, which he has his social media apps on, and his non-business phone, which he deleted them all off, right? So I'm not enough as I talked to someone who has 4 phones.
Yeah. Yes, Gabe. Yes. Yes.
Well, it's okay. It's not that I'm not rich enough. I could buy another phone if I wanted to.
Business phone 1.
But I don't really have the.
Well, you could get it on Swappa. It's used, very affordable price.
Yes, I could. This is all true. I could do all of this, and I could have kept my old iPhone 7 when I just upgraded to the iPhone 10s Max. But it's easier to have one phone. So the things that I'm trying to do is I did actually delete. No, I didn't actually delete. I had turned off notifications on almost all of my social media apps for things other than direct messages. Other than someone really trying to communicate with me, I don't need to see any notifications popping up for when I get a like, when I get a comment. I'll just have to go into the app. So at least it's not pulling me in that way,
Yeah, I completely agree. That's actually the biggest thing I've done in terms of helping my relationship with technology is turning off any notification that is not a person trying to get in contact with me. Gabe, Are you on your phone right now?
Oh gosh, it sucked me in. No, what I was actually doing is I was looking up my screen time because I really think this is one of the great things that Apple and Google has done. It's weird because it's almost counterintuitive that they're adding features to keep us on our phones less, but it makes sense
selling that the phones.
It makes sense at least for Apple that they'd be doing this because Apple really has their whole message is that their products are going to make your life better, make you more productive and all that stuff. Google, it's kind of weird that they'd put it in Android because all of their products, their Google search and YouTube, are designed with getting you to use them more and getting you to spend more time on them and give them more of your life so that they can sell you more ads. So
it's
Google and Apple are fundamentally different.
Can you see your screen time?
I can see my screen time.
What are you at?
Right now this week is 5 hours, 5 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let me see. I am at 3 hours, 58 minutes per day.
Okay, wait, hold on. Never mind. That was for today.
Wait, what were you at for today?
5 hours, 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh, Gabe.
And it's only 4:48 in the afternoon, yeah. My average for the last 7 days is 8 hours and 48 minutes. And that's down 8% from last week.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. I'm up a lot, up 33%, and I was 3 hours, 58 minutes. And the reason I'm up is I was traveling. So I was on a bus, I was in a car, and there's nothing to do. And so I was just indulging on my phone.
The big one that I wanted to look at was notifications. So, for example, I'm averaging around 163 notifications per day, right? And what I like about screen time and digital well-being on Android is they break it down into which apps. So I can then go see, all right, messages 277. Yeah, I'm okay with that because that's communicating with people. My security camera telling me that there's something moving. Okay, maybe I should turn down how sensitive it is because I don't really want to be getting 188 notifications a day from that. Instagram giving me 144 notifications. Yeah, that seems like too much. I think I'm going to have to curtail those notifications, and you can go through each app and really decide, hey, do I really want to be getting my day disturbed by this app and by what that's telling me every day? Or no, do I want to turn that off and really take a little more control back from these apps and services?
I think that's a great idea. And something too that I've done is I've had notifications in terms of just putting a little badge on the app icon. I find this helpful for email where I don't see anything on my lock screen, so there's no incentive to pick up and use my phone. But if I choose to use my phone, I can see, all right, I now have a little badge. I have a notification. I can go and check it. I've used that for Snapchat a lot, which means I miss a lot of things immediately. But when I find I have free time and I'm ready to use my phone, I can go ahead and see, all right, this has a notification. I can go in and then use it.
See, I actually got rid of my badges for a lot of the apps, especially Twitter. This is mainly because I have 20 Twitter accounts. So that definitely makes it so that there's pretty much always a badge. But it really, for stuff like that, I don't need to know if something's happening. Like Twitter, I don't care if someone tweeted at me really, or something got retweeted. Who cares? I can go into the app and check my notifications if I really need to know. So that's one thing, and that's kind of about getting pulled into the apps or getting pulled into your phone. And on a similar thread, I actually think that smart devices, smart speakers specifically, such as the Amazon Echo, the Google Home Mini, those are actually really valuable to minimizing how many times you have to touch your phone and could possibly be pulled in. If you can say, "Hey Alexa, what's the weather?" Sorry, I just triggered everyone's devices that's listening. You can ask, "What's the weather?" You can say, "Play music." You can, schedule my appointment. It's really helpful, I actually find, with getting stuff done quickly and not having to go on your phone and possibly get dragged in and then, wasting 10 minutes, 20 minutes or more.
Right. That's the thing to avoid or to be wary of is basically picking your phone up to do one thing and being completely sidetracked to do another thing. That's almost like you walk into a room and you forget why you're there. It's kind of like you unlock your phone to do something, you forget why you're there, and then boom, notification, or you just browse around some other.
Well, it's kind of like if you walked into a room to go, like if you were working on an office and you're like, oh, I need to go talk to Steve, right? And so you went into the other room to go talk to Steve, and then while you're in there, Jesse comes over and he says, "Hey, would you talk to me this?" And Stephanie comes over and says, "Oh, I also need you to do this." And someone calls from across the hall, "Hey, remember that we have this meeting at 4? And oh, did you check? And it's like all these other things are just demanding your attention or trying to get your attention desperately because that's really their purpose. I mean, yeah, they offer you stuff, they offer you services, they offer you fun things, they entertain you, but really their whole purpose from a business standpoint is to get your attention and to get you to use them.
Right, absolutely. I agree with you again here. I think the smart assistants really do help with the simple tasks you don't really need to pick up your phone for, and just minimizing the number of pickups, minimizing the amount of time you're staring at your device, I think are all great ways to kind of live a more balanced life where you're using technology to your advantage and it's not using you as a way to generate revenue for these companies that are basically selling ads.
Exactly. You don't feel like a cow hooked up to, and they're just milking you for dollars.
For your attention span. The other biggest thing I found personally is when I wake up in the morning to not look at my phone. Like
I'm pointing at, I know the audience can't see this, but I'm pointing at you.
Gabe's giving me encouragement.
That's almost golden shopping cart worthy.
This is the biggest thing for me, where I find if I wake up in the morning and I don't look at my phone at all, I have a much nicer morning and I'm less likely to use technology later in the day. Whereas if I wake up and I immediately reach for that phone, I'm in bed for an extra 15, 20, 30 minutes just scrolling through social media. I have a slower start to my morning. And, I really think...
And then even throughout the day, you're just on the device more.
Yeah. So I really think the way you start your day and the way you structure your morning around technology plays a huge role in how you use technology throughout the day and how much you're engaging with it and interacting with it.
And I would say scientifically that actually has a lot of data to back it up and a lot of theories, because basically how the phones are keeping you, or the devices, the apps are keeping you engaged so long, is they're really locking onto the whole dopamine kind of process in our brains, where we get, originally it would be harder to get dopamine hits. You'd have to, you'd work all day to build a shelter, and you'd finally finish building it. Then you got to,
your reward
reward of being sheltered at night, or you got to hunt for, berries or hunt for some meat, or, stuff like this that took a lot longer to get that dopamine hit. Now you're like, oh, let me go check if I got a like on Instagram. That's literally like an inch over, swipe,
tap,
click,
refresh.
Like 2 seconds, boom, done. And then you're like, let me see if I got another one after you posted that photo, and you swipe down, it does a nice thing, give you a dopamine hit there.
Oh my God, it's so good.
And then
it's so good.
Right? So it's hacked into this system of our brain's chemistry. And the thing is, when you sleep, it kind of resets that a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But then as soon as you get on it in the morning, it starts that cycle up again, and kicks your brain into that higher gear where it's revving at that really high thing and keeps needing fuel over and over and over again. So if you can stay away from it as long as possible, you get your brain into a healthier cycle, and it's more likely that you're going to be productive that day, I think. I mean, I'm not a scientist, but this is
I think your reasoning is sound, and I really do agree. Figuring out a way to start your morning that doesn't involve looking at a screen. Something that I did is, instead of using my phone as my alarm, I know a lot of people use their phones as an alarm, just buy a physical alarm. I found using my Apple Watch as an alarm was really great because...
Or I know smart speakers, you can do it too.
Yeah, again, with those smart home devices, using that, having the lights turn on, and find something to do in the morning that's not staring at a screen. Maybe you go outside, you go on a quick walk, you write down 3 things you're grateful for on a piece of paper, right? Like something that's not staring at a screen, getting the hit of dopamine from notifications, and feeling overwhelmed with all these tasks you need to complete. Just, find a nice, easy way to start your morning that is something you look forward to.
I just had a thought when I've mentioned smart speakers, smart speakers, not smart speakers. I don't know what those are.
New product coming soon. Look for the Kickstarter.
Yeah. The smart speakers. Anyways, smart speakers are good because they're really a new medium, right? Instead of a screen, it's interacting by voice, conversationally. And it's kind of, I feel like this could actually change though, because once they get smart enough, what's going to stop it from where you walk in a room and your smart speaker goes, oh, hey, did you want to see what so-and-so said about you on Instagram, right? That could be what's coming up next. It's like right now, they are what computers were and what, smartphones were, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, where they're more for us to use, and they haven't really been taken to the point technology-wise where they're grabbing us in and using us.
That's a really interesting thought. Do you think you could get through a day only using voice commands? Like, what if you said, what's the weather today? Send a text to this person, make a call, get directions. I feel like
is that going to be the new challenge?
I feel like you could actually, you might actually be able to do it.
Maybe I hate to trash Apple, but I could maybe do this with Google.
Absolutely. Siri, just throw it out the window.
I don't think Siri,
Yeah, just forget about it right now. But with Google...
And Cortana,
Gabe,
we
what?
don't talk about that.
We don't talk about Cortana on this podcast.
No.
Sorry to all the 2 fans out there.
Yeah. So I think really, smart speakers, until they get to the point where they... become kind of like, the movie Her, where the guy falls in love with his virtual assistant, and then they're basically like another person, except for it's operated by a company who is, saying, hey, why don't you just try to remind everyone a little bit more about Instagram, or remind them a little more about this shopping product that they want to buy. I think that is it's a sad thing to think about in the future, but at least for now, smart speakers are your friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
What other tips do you have for, do you do the thing where I know people turn their phone to grayscale sometimes?
Yeah.
I have a friend who does that.
I think grayscale is really, really helpful. Google has this built in. I actually just switched to the Pixel 3a as my daily driver. And at night, the screen will automatically turn not only a warm yellow hue to help with the blue light, but it'll also go to a grayscale. And I think that's actually one of the issues. Like the rich, colorful, saturated OLED screens that we have on our phones are really, they're really amazing to look at. So having that grayscale, turning the color off, it makes everything significantly much less seductive, much less enticing to pick up and use. And it's kind of a visual reminder every time you do pick up your phone that, hey, it's time to wind down and get ready for bed.
Well, I think it's also interesting because it kind of reminds you that this isn't the real world, and that this isn't what I want to be spending my time on, because I'd much rather be looking at things in color.
Right.
And not only are the screens so nice, but like the apps are, designed, the icons are so richly colored.
Facebook's new icon is like
Facebook's new
a neon
color,
blue.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Right? It's interesting. They definitely did probably some market research and figured, this is a good rebrand.
I think they're tapping into our underlying psychology of how we perceive color, and that is a friendly, very neon. It engrosses your eyeballs.
Yeah. So the grayscale thing definitely works. One thing. Now this is a little bathroom talk. I think, is don't bring your phone into the bathroom with you. I mean, I think we all do it.
People do that?
Yeah.
I do not do that.
When you're standing up and peeing, and no, I'm kidding, not that. Usually it's when most people are sitting down, taking a number 2, playing some Angry Birds, playing some Words with Friends, checking Instagram. I find personally, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me, that you maybe about 10% of the time you're sitting there is spent doing what you're actually supposed to be doing, which is going to the bathroom, and the other 90% is spent simply on your phone. And it just so happens that you're sitting on this nice little porcelain throne,
ceramic throne,
which is making it comfortable. Yeah, right. And you're away from distractions and people, and so no one can bother you. And you just say, "I'm going to the bathroom," and everyone respects you. But you're really just getting that. It's like a druggie going to the corner and hiding in the closet or something to do his drugs. That's kind of what it is a little bit.
That's a interesting comparison to make. I actually agree with that again. I feel like I've been doing a lot of agreeing with you this episode. Yeah, we should get a tally with the number of times I've said
divisive
agree.
Issue. We need a divisive issue.
I personally don't take my device into the bathroom because I like to be in the bathroom.
I think you get the shopping cart there, but actually I get it because I realized the pun. Because I said a divisive issue, and then you said I typically don't take my device with me into the bathroom.
Okay,
that is a great pun, I gotta say. Let's give a round of applause.
Was that me? Stetson. Did I just make a pun?
No, I made the pun for you. So I think I get the golden shopping cart there. Thank you very much. It's a virtual one right now because I left it at my other apartment in Ithaca. But I'll still accept it. It's
once
still
again,
just as good.
Gabe self-awards himself the golden shopping cart that's actually silver.
The committee awarded it to me. The committee of me and all the other people on the committee awarded it to me.
Well, congratulations, Gabe. I know this is another big honor for you. You have a winning streak going now, so...
Well, I mean, I've had a winning streak because I remember I won all the previous ones too, on all the previous episodes.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So, I mean, but it's just this one. Don't worry, Stetson, you'll get yours eventually, and it feels just as good winning your 8th one as it does winning the first one.
I'll keep my hopes high, and I'll really try my best for this one.
Well, I mean, I have faith in you, definitely. You had some very good tips on screen time today.
I think so. I try and manage my device. And
do you use any time limits on the apps?
I do.
What are the big ones?
I set a time limit for social media, and all this really does for me is let me know how long I've been staring at my social media, and I will often tap the little add 15 minutes button.
Do you do the 15 minutes, add 15 minutes, or do you simply hit ignore?
I usually do add 15 minutes, and if I have to do that enough times, then I ignore it.
Okay, see, I ignore on the first one because I know I'm a monster, and I know there's no hope for me.
I think the other big thing for iPhone users, they don't have digital well-being, so they can't get that automatic grayscale, but you can set a triple click of the power button on iPhone 10 devices and the home button, triple click of the home button on other devices to bring up a option to enable that grayscale toggle. So,
and for people who don't know, that's under accessibility.
Yeah,
right?
You kind of have to go into settings to figure it out. And
there's tutorials online.
That is one good way. Again, you're kind of manually responsible for that, so I stopped using it immediately. Setting time limits can help you become more aware of how much time you are actually spending on social media.
And what's one thing that I know you have the new OnePlus 7. What is something that phone has that helps with keeping? Do you know, or did I just?
Yeah, I'd say that actually dumpster fire. This has a 90 hertz OLED display. It's the nicest, most addictive.
Wait, no. Don't they have that mode that locks you out, Zen mode?
Oh yeah, they do have Zen mode. Gabe, you want to tell us a little bit more about Zen mode? Because
I can't believe you're the one who has this phone,
Gabe,
sir.
I haven't used it. I'd use the Pixel 3. I mean,
this is just securing my golden shopping cart again.
I'm just gonna walk away with my tail between my legs.
We haven't given 2 out in an episode yet, but we might have to consider it after my performance today.
We're gonna have to whip up another kind of award.
Yeah, just so I can win it and give it to myself and feel good. No, basically this Zen mode, it locks you out of the phone for, I think, is it 15 or 20 minutes? And it's not like the Apple one or, the Android version where it kind of disables your phone, but you can be like, oh, I actually want to get in. This literally will not let you into your phone. I mean, I'm assuming there's probably like an emergency numbers you can dial while it's in effect, but yeah, they went to the nuclear option with this, and it might be kind of effective. We'll have to see, though. I mean, you'll probably be using it over the next couple of weeks, so I'll check back then.
This is take a 20-minute break from your phone, stop, relax, and clear your mind. So it is a hard 20-minute break, and that's something I've done too with iPhone and the Shortcuts app. I've set 30-minute do not disturb reminders where I'll make it so I set, how long do I want to be focused on a task? 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I'll punch that in. I'll hit start. Phone will be in do not disturb. At the end of that time, I'll get a notification that the time is up, and notifications will be turned back on. And with the Pixel line of phones, you can actually turn them face down. That'll pop them into do not disturb. And you can also have it automatically jump into do not disturb during calendar events. So all of those do not disturb settings are great ways.
I kind of take a more old school approach. I put my phone in the middle of a ring of fire that burns for 20 minutes. So if I want to get it, I have to run through the fire. And it works pretty good. I've gotten only like 3 third-degree burns so far.
Wow, you've really needed to get your phone 3 times to run through a ring of fire?
I mean, well, I had to see if my friend Jimmy had liked my photo, obviously.
Gabe, I'll like your photo for you.
Okay, thank you. I'm great. I have to go back through the ring of fire to make sure you do it. Oh, now. But no, yeah, there are good ways to really, and the more ways you put in between you and using your phone, so sometimes I go ring of fire. Sometimes I also put it in a mode of alligators, like concentric circles. So I have to really, it's like the 7 Trials of Hercules or whatever.
That reminds me a lot of Harry Potter, actually, when you had to get the very first book, like when you had to go through all of those different areas.
The not the Prisoner of Azkaban, the Phoenix.
Right.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know. No,
I would not have predicted that we would have
somehow...
Chamber of Secrets, yeah.
Yikes. I'd like to offer a sincere apology to the Harry Potter fans out there.
You might get the golden book, I think.
Thank you for... Wow, I feel a little bit better right now.
Yeah.
The other thing, pop it in the microwave for 30 seconds. That'll really do it.
Yeah, that is...
Don't do that. That will damage your phone.
Don't put metal in your microwave.
I was taking a look at Zen mode because you piqued my curiosity, much like I'm piquing my microphone right now.
You most likely are piquing your mic.
Zen mode, it says, hey, Challenger, here are some rules you need to know. Zen mode can't be canceled.
And this is for people who are listening, and which is everyone who's
listening,
consuming this podcast. You are reading this off the phone. It's like
this is the menu screen for the phone.
Yeah.
It says, hey, Challenger, here are some rules you need to know. Zen mode can't be canceled once it's started. Incoming notifications will be temporarily muted. You will still receive phone calls and make emergency calls. All apps will be locked except for the camera. Start.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, there's that phone called did you just do it?
I just did it. It gives you a 20-minute countdown timer, and you can't do anything.
It's kind of like there's the phone, isn't it called the Essential phone, I think?
No. That's different. The Essential phone's an actual phone.
No, but there is... Oh, it's not the Essential phone. I can't remember what it's called. Maybe the Simple phone or something?
To be an accessory to your real big phone.
It's basically this phone is...
I think it's the Palm.
Is it the Palm? No.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
No, I think I know what you're talking about.
There's a phone that came out on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, and it uses the same type of screen as an e-reader. So it's that black and white contrast display, and it doesn't have that color display to suck you in. And was simply, text and call, and that's it.
That's really all you should need in a phone.
I mean, yeah, when you think about that's all, texting was the whole amazing feature when they added it.
Okay. Which brings the question, when was the last time you saw a phone review where someone talked about call quality during phone calls?
What?
Exactly.
Wait, phones? You can make a phone call on a cell phone?
Sometimes, if you have service.
Yeah.
Jokes on OnePlus. I have 3 other smartphones within arm's reach at my disposal I can use.
Imagine if it just like sent out a like electromagnetic pulse that just destroyed all your phones.
EMF.
Poof, just all of them, yeah.
Or EMP, electromagnetic.
EMP.
Yeah.
Well, this is, we've strayed kind of from the topic of summer and spending time outside, but all of this kind of goes down to that in the summer, a lot of people, even when you're adults and you're working, people take on summer projects. School kids definitely, they have, summer trips or summer plans. And it's when you're spending so much time on your screen, a lot of times that gets in the way from you either doing it at all or possibly, on the other hand, enjoying it fully and really being in the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I know I want to improve is living in the moment, experiencing the beautiful weather that's outside instead of being in my room like I am now with my hue lights turned on and the daylight setting and in an air-conditioned
Why do you need beautiful weather outside
when
you can just watch it on your phone and be in a nice comfy environment?
I think, yeah, living in the moment. What's what are some of your aspirations for digital well-being?
And I was gonna say aspirations for the summer too. I'm hoping to be a little more productive. I think we all want to be more productive if we're creators, especially because that's usually the type of people that are driven by being able to create stuff in the world. So if you're constantly trying to create stuff in a digital medium, but every time you go to do that you get sucked into it, that's really kind of frustrating in a lot of ways, at least for me. And so I hope hopefully through setting up strict, like, do not go on your phone first thing in the morning, like you mentioned earlier, and maybe let's one thing I found really helpful actually was I did HelloFresh, the meal subscription service, and just that being able to cook gave me the opportunity to really create something physically and not using anything digital, which is very satisfying and a whole different experience than working in a digital format.
And you still get that hit of dopamine because you taste it.
You eat the food.
You eat it. It's amazing. It's delicious.
And then you cry.
That's only if you chop onions.
Yeah. Well, usually it's because I cut myself because I'm so bad at using a knife.
Or you should sharpen your knives, Gabe. Make sure they're nice and sharp.
Yeah, most of them occur with a dull knife, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
But yeah, so for me, it's really, trying to be more productive, work on doing more videos, more creative projects, and really just, being in the moment and not in someone else's moment, and being used by the technology and the apps that I thought were there for me.
I think the stories feature is one of the most distracting features for me. And I love supporting everyone. I don't think people's stories are adding value to my life.
What? Are you kidding? I like the boomerangs that go in and out from people's food? Oh my gosh, my life is enriched.
Yeah.
After I throw up because there's usually so much motion sickness in everyone's boomerangs.
Just can't handle it. Yeah. So
yeah.
I think
so. What are your kind of aspirations and goals for your summer and digital well-being?
Producing more content. I think structuring my morning around not using my phone. We can use it for everything, like working out, taking notes, literally everything. But finding a way to start my morning.
How much have you noticed a smartwatch helping you, by the way? Because I know you have an Apple Watch.
I use my Apple Watch a lot for events and getting notifications and calendar reminders and reminders. So I find it the most helpful for staying organized and structuring my day, which is what I really like. And I will actually typically turn off text messages and other kinds of social media notifications on the watch because, again, I get that little voice in my head like, hey, I wonder what Gabe Shakur messaged me. Like, I wonder what he said. And then I'll be thinking about it and curious, and that doesn't go away until I check. And another thing that'll happen is I'll check. It'll give me the preview. I'll read it. And my mind will start composing a reply, but I won't be writing the reply. And that's it's just, when I get notifications, I feel like my mind becomes derailed. So kind of
because then you're already thinking, what am I going to say back or stuff like that.
Finding ways to really maximize the do not disturb functionality of the devices, like creating calendar events for certain periods of time when I need to focus, is really helpful. And I love the watch as an exercise companion for tracking my fitness, and that helps motivate me to get outside, go on a run, go on a walk, and get some exercise.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately the bigger thing is, you can put up as many roadblocks to be in between you and your devices, but if you don't find stuff in the physical world that's fun for you and really encourages you to get outside, whether it's like, oh, I really do like going for hikes, let me go for hikes more often, or hey, I like I don't know, I'm thinking only really country stuff because I live in New Hampshire. Like I was thinking kayaking.
Yeah, I was going to say kayaking.
But if it's like maybe you like to go walk with your friend in the park, or maybe you like to play basketball and not get hurt and just dislocate your ankle like I did, so whatever it is that's for you, the fun thing and it doesn't really even have to be that active, but is something in the physical world and not using a screen, that's something that you really like and something that is enough to pull you away from your device, and then you're going to be happy doing that and you won't even think about your phone.
One thing that I love with my friends is we play a lot of board games together.
Yeah, that's a very, old school, but they're still some of the funnest things. What's your quickly unsolicited advice favorite board game right now?
Really love Settlers of Catan. We got into Secret Hitler, and Cards Against Humanity is always a classic.
I would quickly just add in there Killer Bunnies for anyone who hasn't. It's a crazy game. It takes a little bit to get into, like some of these more fun and complex board games, but yeah, they're all board games work because they work.
Betrayal on House on the Hill.
Yes, yeah. That's another. There's so many good ones out there. It's ridiculous, and they're coming up with more every day.
I love it.
And they don't require any power. They don't require any screen. They're not $1,000 to get into. Very cheap, very fun. So yeah, I think it's kind of throw it back.
Books.
And on that note, actually, I have to go to my parents' drive-in theater, my family's drive-in, and help run it tonight.
Oh, this is good. Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, so that's definitely retro fun. What's the next retro-ish fun thing you're doing?
I might go to a movie theater tonight.
That's still retro fun.
Board games with friends tomorrow. Okay. And something I just thought of is if you can sleep with your phone out of arm's reach, I find that helps a lot.
Right next to you? Oh, not strapped to your forehead. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, might be doing that wrong. Might be drinking the radiation a little bit too much over there.
Yeah, and that was the complete opposite way. I thought you were going with that. Yeah, no, I agree. Don't put it so you can roll over at night and grab it and check what time it is, and then also, check everything else. And 3 hours later, the sun's up.
That was well phrased. I guess that's going to be it. That's going to wrap up the episode.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Hopefully this has helped you with your digital well-being and given you some ideas, or if not, at least it's an audio format so you're not watching something. But, let us know on our social media what you do to help yourself not be on your screen all the time. So go on your screen, navigate to our social media at Pinch to Zoom Pod on Twitter or Pinch to Zoom Podcast on Instagram, and let us know by typing on that screen and spending even more time. Then also go check out some of our photos and maybe go over to our YouTube and
give us some likes too, because we need those hits of dopamine.
Oh, we need, they're coming in really good to us, dripping slowly into our veins. Yeah, that's very good. And if you have any questions, email us, of course, at pinchtozoompodcast@gmail.com.
We'll be opening up, in honor of this podcast, a postage service. We'll get a U.S. address that you could send some of the handwritten letters.
That would be pretty sick, I think, and pretty awesome. Yeah, maybe we get a P.O. box or something.
That would be funny. Okay.
Once we get up to maybe 1,000 streams, then we'll do it, I think.
I like it.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you for listening. I'm Stetson.
And I'm still Gabe.
And we'll talk to you next time.
Yes, not on the screen. We're actually gramophone. Or we'll just telegraph.
What if we put it on a record? Like we put it on a record and then we ship one record out.
This is the Pinch to Zoom Podcast.